Yokai Buster Ruka no Daibouken is the most expensive game I've ever bought, coming in at roughly $100 US. Normally Japanese versions of games are cheaper, but in this case it's the opposite, as the American version is a Jetsons game that goes for half the price. The main feature of this game is inhaling enemies and spitting them out, similar to Kirby, as well as using said suction to climb on walls and more. In the Jetsons game you play as Mr. Jetson running around with a vacuum, but in Ruka no Daibouken you play as Ruka, the teenage girl, who has a red demon head with her that she uses to do the sucking for her. Kind of reminiscent of Lollipop Chainsaw in a way. Ruka, who comes from a comic strip in a Japanese magazine, is a pretty ditzy teenager, as evidenced by the intro where she runs into a boy and becomes instantly obsessed with his coolness, despite the world being overrun with ghosts and stuff. Her ditziness is also reflected in the cute and wacky graphics, where if you walk into a wall, she'll push it with her butt, if you run into a wall, she'll get dizzy, and in general the sprite work is done very well. There are also some neat rotation effects thrown in, like the first level boss. Controls are fairly simple. B to jump, hold L or R to run, and press Y to suck. There are various food items that increase your score, hearts, heart upgrades, and an item that increases your power. I'm not sure what more power does exactly, because enemies die in one hit anyway, but it's there. Melons and enemies don't go away when you suck them. Instead you can shoot them back at enemies, which is more or less the only way to kill them. Once you have the melon or enemy in the mouth of the red demon head, you can stop holding the Y button, which eases the stress on your fingers. You can also use the suction function to attach to walls and ceilings, which comes into use a lot. Sometimes in clever ways, like how you can't crawl, so you need to crouch, suck at the wall, get pulled to it, and presto, you're past that obstacle. Traversing this way feels good, but it does require some practice. My main gripe with this game is simply respawning enemies. As soon as the enemy's spawn point is out of view, they will come back when you return to that point, which can get annoying at times. Melons will respawn too when you don't need them. Not to mention that if you try to suck off points and health items and a melon is in the way, you can't get the item until you've spat out the melon. Last thing to mention about the melons is that sometimes there are malicious shoes lurking under them. And if you're like me, you might mistake them for point items, but they're actually enemies. Ruka wouldn't be caught dead wearing shoes like those, and that's what they're counting on. The main menu of this game has the normal game, of course, a practice mode which has a tutorial, something you don't see in too many games of that time, as well as a Furoku mode. This is an extra mode, seemingly unrelated to the main game, where you ride on a motorcycle in an auto-scrolling level trying to collect as many items for points as you can until you inevitably crash. Definitely not enough to carry a game by itself, but here it's a nice bonus. And I feel compelled to mention the eggplant item. What is Japan's fascination with eggplants? Between this, Kid Icarus, Ice Climber, and Adventure Island, what's going on? Yokai Buster Ruka no Daibouken is a very good Super Famicom game. Since the US version is a Jetsons game, it's also a very good licensed game. The inhaling mechanic is well enough implemented to both be fun and challenging to use. Respawning enemies is a small price to pay to play this fun and quirky hidden gem of a game.